My name is Amy Snyder, and I'm 27 years old. I live with my mom and dad, and we've always been a family of three. I've always looked up to my dad. He runs his own business and works very hard. He's usually busy and not home much, but whenever he has a day off, he spends it with me. He's a great dad and always makes me feel loved. My mom, on the other hand, is very different. I've never seen her work a day in her life. She takes care of the house, but has never helped with my dad's business or worked outside. I knew we were well off, because she always spent her time dressing up and going out. As a child, I noticed she didn't care much for kids, and she hardly paid attention to me. It made me feel lonely sometimes, but my dad was always there for me. I think he knew my mom was distant, so he did everything he could to make sure I never felt alone. Flashback to childhood. One day, I came home and said, "Mom, I'm home." "Oh, is it that late already? I'm heading out, so grab some snacks and take care of the house, okay? But didn't we promise to go shopping and make curry together today?" "Sorry, something came up suddenly, we'll do it next time, okay?" I was disappointed, but this was normal for my mom. She often broke promises, and I learned not to take her words seriously. At first, it made me cry, but eventually, I got used to it. My dad was different. He never made empty promises like maybe or we'll see. I grew to admire him because he was reliable and trustworthy. That's why, after graduating from university, I wanted to join his company. Being an only child, I started to think about inheriting the business someday and continuing his hard work. When I turned 20, my dad started taking me out for drinks and teaching me about life and business. My mother, however, didn't have much involvement in raising me, even as I became an adult. The only time she interfered was during my sophomore year of college. "Dad, I want to work at your company after I graduate. I've already started studying for it, and I want to succeed you someday." My dad looked surprised and asked, "Amy, are you sure?" Before I could answer, my mom jumped in. "Wait a minute, a girl doesn't need to do that." "Why not?" I asked. "A woman should find a good man and let her husband earn the living," she said. It was such a typical thing for my mom to say. I realized she didn't understand me at all, so I stopped the conversation that day. I didn't want to live my life relying on someone else, like my mother did. I always wanted to become a strong, independent woman. From that day forward, during the rest of my college years, I worked hard to make that dream a reality. As soon as I graduated, I joined my father's company. My mother didn't approve, but it seemed she eventually gave up. "If you want to live like this, that's your choice. But don't come crying to me when you suffer for ignoring your mother's advice," she said. I accepted her words and still followed my own path. Joining my father's company created even more distance between my mother and me, but at the same time, my bond with my father grew stronger. Looking back, I think my mother wasn't very happy about this situation. When I started working at my father's company, he trained me seriously. It wasn't just for the sake of teaching me the business, there was another reason. My father was sick. For about 6 months, he worked hard to introduce me to everyone and teach me about the job, but one day, he collapsed at work and was rushed to the hospital. For the next 5 years, my father fought his illness. During that time, he often asked me about the company. "Amy, how's the company doing? Is everything okay without me?" "It's really tough right now, Dad, but everyone is helping me. I'm sure we'll be fine because you trusted me to take care of everything." "Well, as long as that's the case, just be prepared. If a woman like you runs the company and it goes bankrupt, it would be a real shame," my mother added. Her words hurt. "Mom, you don't care about the company at all, do you? You're only worried about what other people will think. It's sad to hear you talk like that." When my father first collapsed, my mother and I argued like this often. For 5 years, my father went in and out of the hospital. On his good days, he would visit the company, but over time, he grew weaker. During his last year, he was almost completely bedridden. On the last day he was able to visit the company, he said something I'll never forget. "This company and its employees are my treasures, but I have to let go of them now. Over the past few years, I've watched you work. Amy, I think I can trust you with this place. Can I ask you something?" "Yes, Dad?" "Please protect this company, protect everyone here, for me. I always thought, if I can just be like you, Dad, but I'll keep trying to get closer to the person I admire most. Please rest easy." After my father passed the title of representative to me, my life became incredibly busy. Since my father spent most of his time in the hospital, I made sure to visit him often. My mother did the bare minimum, like bringing him clean clothes, but even that seemed like a bother to her. I often wondered, what does my mother feel for my father? Does she not care about him at all? Doesn't she feel any gratitude or even pity for him now that he's sick? I couldn't help but feel sorry for my father, remembering how hard he worked for me when I was little. Even if I was exhausted, I always made time to visit him. This routine went on for about a year until, one day, my father passed away peacefully in his sleep. After he was gone, I barely had time to grieve because I was swamped with responsibilities. My mother, who knew nothing, insisted that I handle everything: funeral arrangements, hospital paperwork, and more. Honestly, I never expected her to take care of such things. She had spent her whole life at home, doing nothing but enjoying herself, so I silently handled everything alone. The day after the funeral, my mother spoke to me. "Amy, the funeral's over, and you've settled down now, right? Please leave this house. I've just inherited 200 million yen, so I have no use for you anymore." I looked at her calmly and said, "Thank you, I was waiting for you to say that." I had long since realized that talking to her was pointless. Did she really think it was okay to live a carefree life with just money? I had so many questions but no answers. The next day, I called a service and sold all my belongings. My mother was shocked at how quickly I had packed up and organized everything. What she didn't know was the truth about the inheritance. My father had entrusted all financial matters to me. I was the rightful inheritor. There wasn't a single penny left for my mother. My father had firmly told me when he was still healthy, "Your mother doesn't understand how to manage or spend money. I want you to give her a set amount for household expenses each month, that's all." With that, I left my childhood home and began a new chapter of my life. My father once told me, "If your mother gets a large sum of money, she'll likely go bankrupt immediately, but I know she won't listen to you. If she complains, tell her you won't give her a single penny." Then he smiled and added, "No, I'm just kidding. But if you have trouble with her, give her this." He handed me an SD card. "It's a video letter I made for your mother." At the time, I never imagined I would need to use it, but with her attitude lately, I felt the day would come soon. After I left, my mother was alone in that big house. I expected her to contact me eventually, but she reached out much sooner than I thought. "Come home immediately," she demanded over the phone. "Huh? What are you talking about?" "I'm working," I replied. "I just need to talk to you. Please come quickly." I sighed. She's so self-centered, I thought, but I still headed back to my childhood home, bringing the SD card with me. As soon as I arrived, my mother started accusing me. "You ran off with all your father's inheritance, didn't you? I knew something was wrong when you left so suddenly. Hand it over to me now." Her greed shocked me. "How can you say that? You can't even act like a proper mother," I replied calmly. Then I quietly handed her the SD card. "What's this?" she asked. "Oh, I guess you don't even know how to use it," I said mockingly. I took out my laptop, inserted the SD card, and played the video. On the screen, my father appeared, looking as healthy as I remembered him. I wondered how my mother would react to hearing his words after he was gone. Without saying anything, I left the room to give her privacy. I had never seen my mother defy my father before, but now that he was gone, would his words still reach her? When I returned, my mother was crying. I couldn't believe it. She was in tears, watching the video of my father. I wanted to know what he said to her, but I didn't dare watch the video myself, so I had no idea why she was crying. "Mom, are you okay?" I asked softly. She wiped her tears and replied, "Yes, for now, I understand. I'll follow your father's instructions and leave everything to you. Please, just go home for today. Call me again when you've calmed down," I said as I left. I thought my mother probably didn't want me to see her in a vulnerable state, so I went home right away that day, but I was full of questions. How did my father manage to silence my mother? Almost a month passed without hearing from her, and I started to worry. One afternoon, during my lunch break, I decided to visit my parents' house, but my mother wasn't home. That night, I went back again, and this time, the lights were on. I felt relieved. "I'm sorry for dropping by so suddenly," I said. "I came this afternoon, but you weren't home. I got worried." "I'm sorry," she replied. "I was out for my part-time job." "What? A part-time job?" I couldn't believe it. My mother, who never worked a day in her life, now had a job? Didn't you watch the video Dad left for you? It was addressed to you, so I didn't watch it, I asked. I didn't need to, you can take it home and watch it, Amy. She handed me the SD card. I hesitated. What did my father say to her? Seeing how unusual my mother's behavior was, I felt a bit frightened but decided to watch it. Back at the office, I sat at my father's old desk and played the video. My father appeared on the screen, speaking calmly. Honey, if you're watching this, it means you've had trouble communicating with Amy. First of all, thank you so much for helping me raise Amy. Without you, I wouldn't have been able to manage the company and bring her up at the same time. Something about the way my father was speaking felt off. Then he said something that completely shocked me. You've taken care of Amy even though she is not your child, and I have nothing but gratitude for you. You stood by my side for so many years, but because of that, you gave up on your dreams and reached this age without earning your own living. That's my responsibility because I allowed you to live a life of luxury. I froze. I'm not my mother's child? I couldn't help but say it out loud, but suddenly, everything made sense. Even though my mother never showed me much love, she had cooked for me and taken care of the bare minimum, duties she probably didn't want to do for a child who wasn't her own. My father continued in the video. You told me you felt bad for your sister, so we never registered our marriage. I supported you and didn't ask for anything else, but now that I'm gone, I worry about your future. There's no one to support you anymore, and I feel like I've taken your life away. My father's words stunned me. It was all news to me, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I spent the entire night processing everything before I finally went back to my mother the next day. Mom, I watched the video Dad left, I said. She looked at me and replied coldly, so you know now, I raised you because I was asked to, that's all. What happened to my real mother? I asked. You're the child of my sister and your father, she answered. After my mother explained everything, I finally understood it all, even the things I had only guessed before. My biological mother, my mom's sister, died shortly after giving birth to me. My father was devastated, and my mom stepped in to help. She promised to raise me and become my mother. Before that, my mother used to work at a diner. She was cheerful, hardworking, and had a dream of owning her own diner one day, but when she chose to become my mother, she gave up that dream. After hearing this, I realized why she lived the way she did. My father's video reminded her of the dream she had buried long ago. Now, she had started training as a part-timer to make it come true. I should have done this earlier, she told me with a smile. Working is fun, and it suits me. I felt guilty. I didn't know this at all. It's my fault you didn't work. I'm so sorry. It's not your fault, Amy, she said kindly. I made that decision myself, but I wasn't good with kids, and I know I caused you trouble. At that moment, I felt something I never thought I would. I finally understood my mother. For the first time, we were having a real conversation as mother and daughter. After that, we began talking more and rebuilding our relationship. We decided to use some of the money my father left to open her diner. She had become more humble, and when we discussed funds, she hesitated, something unimaginable not long ago. While keeping my regular job, I also started helping her set up the diner. Because of that, I saw her much more often, and our bond grew stronger. Promise me you'll tell me if you ever struggle, I told her. Dad trusted me to take care of you. I'll be fine, Amy, she replied. I can live on my own with my income, but for my diner's expenses, I'll rely on you. Of course, I'm looking forward to it, so let's do our best, I said. After years of distance, we finally became a real family. She wasn't my birth mother, but that didn't matter anymore. It felt like the right time to learn this truth. The day before her diner opened, I told her, your dream is finally coming true. You worked so hard, and I'm proud of you. She smiled and said, watching you work so hard at your company reminded me of my dreams from when I was younger. That's why I've made it this far. It's all thanks to you and your father. Mom, promise me you'll always be my mom, I said, holding back tears. Of course, Amy, from now on, let's get along even better. We only have each other now. That's true, I replied. After my father's passing, so much truth came to light. I accepted everything and decided to move forward with my mother by my side. I even considered moving back to my hometown to live with her. My mom worried about my poor eating habits since I couldn't cook. She was supportive of the idea of us living together again. I could imagine my father being surprised, yet happy, to see us getting along so well. I promised myself I would protect everything my father left behind, the house, the company, and the inheritance. Together, my mother and I visited my father's grave and the grave of my biological mother, my mom's sister. We shared updates on our lives and thanked them for everything. Finally, after going through the process of adoption, I was officially registered as my mother's daughter. We had come so far, and now we were truly a family.